the Arkansas Times on Wednesday, May the 24th. Well, news today includes Donald Trump. He met the Pope today, and the Pope did something important, I think. He gave Donald Trump a copy of his encyclical on climate change. We could hope the president would read it, but we know he doesn't do much reading. Nonetheless, it was something that should be put in his hands. Also, by the way, you know where U.S. submarines are? There was a release today of information about a phone call that Trump had with the president of the Philippines. He did something that's considered a no-no in defense circles. He told the murderous president of the Philippines where some of our nuclear submarines were deployed off North Korea. Oh, well, it's a new day. We have new friends in the world, dictators, killers, and what have you. Elsewhere, back in Arkansas, Senator Tom Cotton and U.S. Representative French Hill said yesterday that they're behind some legislation that will modestly expand the size of the Central High School National Historic District. It will take in 7 houses across the street from the high school. This could be a good thing. It might open up the door for some federal grants to preserve the facades of those houses so they'll look like the houses looked in 1957 during the famous desegregation crisis, which is remembered in a small museum across the street from the high school. Here's the problem, and here's the naysaying. These are both Republican congressmen. They both have talked about decreasing the amount of spending by the federal government. Expanding this historic district accomplishes very little if the National Park Service continues to be beggared by Republican budgets. The Park Service has some $12 billion in deferred maintenance needs all over the United States. Fixing up some houses in Little Rock, frankly, are low on the list of some of the bad things that are happening to some of our national treasures. We need congressmen that'll spend more money on the national park system and not just pay word tribute to past deeds that have occurred on some of the historic sites. Welcome though that might be. The Walton Family Foundation yesterday announced its spending last year, almost $500 million, about a quarter of that on public schools, about $100 million spent on charter schools. They've had a demonstrated ill effect on the public schools in Little Rock and elsewhere. They haven't been so much proven as an agent of great change in education, but that's where your pennies spent at Walmart are going these days. Today, the Little Rock police announced that Deshaun Rushing, 21 years old, had turned himself in on a capital murder charge in the death last year of 2-year-old Ramia Reed. She was riding with her mother in a car when gunshots hit the car. They made another arrest in the case yesterday. $50,000 reward had been posted. Dan Greenberg, a former state representative, lost the appeal of his defamation case against the Benton Courier. He wasn't happy about critical editorials that had been written about him. The court said these were not defamation, just the opinions, however unpleasant they may have been to the editorial writer, and that's not yet grounds for suit in this state just yet anyway. In Conway, signs went up on the interstate for an interchange soon to open for the Baker Wills Parkway, a new arterial loop road around the western end. It's one of those illustrations of careful about naming things after people. Gilbert Baker is a former senator. Robbie Wills, a former representative. They were instrumental in getting money for this road. They're still alive, still lobbyists. Some people think that's not such a great thing. Gilbert Baker has been involved in the infamous federal case about a federal judge in Conway who says he was bribed by campaign contributions arranged by Baker to reduce a verdict in a nursing home case. Baker said these were just legal campaign contributions. Just the same, will that sign stand the test of time? We'll just have to see. Little Rock, by the way, is going to provide a very conservative new member of the federal judiciary. John Bush, a Little Rock High School graduate, now lives in Louisville. Turns out he's a very conservative blogger. Doesn't like abortion, doesn't seem to like gay people very much, does like corporations to be able to spend unlimited amounts on political campaigns. Just the kind of guy you'd think that the Trump administration would appoint to judgeship. He's one of ours. He's as outspoken as Wendell Griffin, but somehow I think the Republicans will like John Bush's brand of outspoken political viewpoints. And finally, check Arkansas Blog today, and it's all over the internet for that matter, for a nice piece of Facebook video of a very unpleasant Walmart shopper who said some racially unkind things, both a Latina woman and a black woman, that she'd encountered on an aisle in a Walmart store. The good news is the Walmart manager said this just wasn't the right way to behave in the store, and the company said the same thing. It didn't change her heart, but maybe it'll change where she shops. On that, we might be helpful. We're resisting here in Little Rock. I'm Max Brantley. I'll be back tomorrow.